This isn't a new concept. I'm sure much more intelligent people than me have already brought it up in discussions and forums and whatnot, and there might not even be a few YouTube videos on it already. I have not run into them, but that doesn't mean anything necessarily. They may have been deleted, may never existed, who knows. Anyway, I'm going to bring up the topic of psionic brainwave emitters in the form of firearms. Now, it's no secret that the global elite need some sort of device to subdue the population if there was a serious revolt, if enough people did get up in arms and protest. So when people say Obama wants to take away the guns, he doesn't necessarily have to. If they can create a device that just shuts down the brain, disables it, because all our brain is run on electrics. I don't know the exact, medical jargon and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to pretend I do know it by doing a few internet searches, but I know they are building at least prototypes of psionic brainwave emitters. There's no telling how massive these things could be. They could be as small as a firearm that the riot police use in the event of a violent protest, or they could be as large as radio stations, and they emit across entire states, entire provinces. There's no real way of knowing. They're certainly not going to share the secret, although they do give hints. There is hints of these types of devices. The most notable one is Command and Conquer Red Alert 2, when Yuri uses his psychic powers to control Missile Command and gets them to blow up themselves for the invasion of Russia into the United States. That was a caricature, but the very thought of a weapon capable of doing that, it's entirely possible. Mankind has done a lot of research on brain activity, and they got people cooking up these kind of ideas all the time. And Command and Conquer Red Alert 2 is an old video game, and the concept behind that is even older. There's one example. There's even a comical example of in Futurama of Fry, one of the lead characters, getting advertisements put in his brain without him knowing about it. And that's kind of strange. I mean, supposedly mankind only knows 10% of the brain, of its anatomy, of its how it functions, and all that other sort of stuff. But we don't know that's true. They tell us, and we learn secondhand, and there's no way of being entirely certain. I mean, you can't trust these people entirely. So, I mean, if you read it on an article, or you watch it on TV, or you read it in the newspaper, take it with a pinch of salt. So, the caricatures I mentioned, Command and Conquer, the Futurama example, even Spider-Man, the TAS version, when Peter Parker was had the symbiote on him, one of the soldiers had a psionic weapon, a sound wave weapon, which he used against him, and it hurt the suit. Now that's also obviously a caricature. There's no such thing as some magic suit that gives you all these powers, okay? But there is inside knowledge and having connections that is the more realistic way of gaining power, of improving yourself. Anyway, these weapons are probably beyond prototype. Our advantage is that it isn't like the olden days, like in, let's say, World War II, for example, where Adolf Hitler had uncontrolled power. He could do just about anything he wanted to do. And he had people who, even then, he had people who, tried to stop him. He was nearly assassinated a few times. He survived all those assassination attempts, but he even had his generals who would make obstacles for him, so he couldn't do exactly what he wanted to do so easily. And the point of all that is there's dissidents within own governments, people with different opinions and different abilities. So no one single person can dictate anything, because there'll always be someone who contradicts them on a serious subject. And given that, and given the interdepartmental argumenting that they're doing, that's an advantage to us, because obviously a weapon like a psionic brainwave emitter is going to be a hot topic, and there are going to be people who are going to be people for it, people who support human rights and aren't going to go for it, and people who go, we need solid, secure leadership, basically a dictatorship. We are in a semi-dictatorial system. We do get told what to do, and there are people who want even more power to make decisions that we have no choice about. That much is obvious. I mean, look how there's so many examples of things where people didn't agree, but they had to take it anyway. Yeah, these weapons, they most certainly exist. Now, tinkering around with the brain is pretty iffy business. I mean, they did it before with electroshock therapy for mental patients, and that damaged the brain most of the time. It caused memory loss, even death in some examples, and I don't think they do it anymore. They certainly don't do it in Canada. I had heard on some forums that people actually like electroshock therapy. I think they were just trolling, but I don't know. I don't want to be trapped in a room and go, you're getting electroshock therapy, that's for sure. I'll opt out of that. Don't want to do it. Yeah, but getting back to these weapons, it is a veritable doomsday type device. It ensures that a small group of people can control a massive group of people. It's their security, it's their insurance that they can do that. So it doesn't matter if we all have guns. And if there was a 1,000,000-man march down Wall Street taking people hostages, if the army comes in under the control of the global elite and uses these psionic brainwave emitters, then all those guns would count for nothing. Yeah, I mean, there are clues. You just have to watch the media. And I like looking at things from a caricature point of view, because there's actually somewhat more honesty in that than just reading, your boring, mundane facts on the internet, corporate stuff, political, nonsense, different parties arguing about boring subjects. I can't get into that. My brain doesn't work that way. As you can tell, I'm not someone who reads books and is interested in that kind of life. I need a little bit more color, a little more interest. It's like They Live. As soon as you put on those shades, you can see propaganda. You can see the alien species. Again, that's a caricature of these people who control society. They're ugly in their own way, because they breed stupidity, they breed ignorance, and they continue to hammer home simple points to keep us complacent, to keep us, doing our regular everyday jobs that need to be done. I mean, people need to buy groceries, people need to buy automobiles, people need to do construction work, people need to do particular tasks. There's like a million different jobs out there, okay? And a lot of them are not peachy, comfortable jobs. A lot of them are, they're not fun. They're not cool. But anyway, this is all bringing back into the mind control. And you don't necessarily need a device to install a system of mind control. You could just create social circumstances, conditioning, social norms, which I've done in previous videos, and basically it's like the anti-Nazi film created in 1943 called Education for Death from Disney. You control them from birth, and you can basically decide what they think. And they may go, well, I think this, I think that, therefore I'm not brainwashed. But if you're going along with the social norm, what's accepted by social society, which is wise in some cases, but you're still being brainwashed, especially if you thoroughly believe in it. These devices, they spook me. I'm not one of these people, like, again, in Futurama, one of the robots thought he was getting messages from the government through little radios in his teeth. I'm not one of those people. I don't go to bed with a tinfoil hat on my head. Although I did do the Tinfoil Hat Chronicles for a while. I'll get back to that. I guess this is sort of a Tinfoil Hat Chronicle, isn't it? Nah, I don't think it is, because it's more realistic. Some people just don't understand, that's all. This is just one type of weapon that the government has at their arsenal, at their convenience. We don't know how many others they have. We don't know if they're continuing to build them. Oh, I'm sure they are. There's a section of the government that's building all kinds of weird things we've never even heard of before. This is one thing that there's been hints of it in the media. Smarter people than me created these caricatures. More informed people did. But I've picked up on them. And I've learned a little bit about it. And now this is not something I'm going to explain to anybody, like a police officer or a doctor or anything like that. Because they'll just dismiss it and go, oh, he's got mental problems. Throw him in this asylum. Do this to him, do that to him. You're wasting your breath. These people work for the establishment. They probably have a far greater understanding of it than you, but they ain't going to tell you squat. They're going to pretend they don't know anything about it. Because they're controlled by their own social constructs. They're controlled by their job and their position in society. And they're going to fight to defend it because they're a level above you. And they're basically, realistically, they're like capos. And a capo was a Jewish person in World War II who beat up other Jews to hopefully get out of a concentration camp or whatever. Usually they got killed in the end, and deservingly so. Didn't always happen, but sometimes it did. Because that's pretty low down. And a caricature of that is Django from Django. Jamie Foxx played him, and he had to play a black slave owner, and that's pretty low down. Anyway, so that keeps people who know better from talking, from getting personal. I've known some professionals who would know and be able to explain it better than me for many years, but they never break character because their job depends on it, their livelihood depends on it, their social sphere of influence depends on it, and they just always sweep it under the rug and accuse you of being delusional or anything, or they would accuse you of being delusional if you brought it up with them. It's just very hard to bring it up. There is no book for dummies on the subject, and they want to keep it that way. They want to keep people confused, unable to express themselves properly. And they certainly don't want you to go around convincing other people. That's why I know for a fact that this video is not going to get very many views. Obviously, I do not control YouTube. I do not have a say. If they don't like a video, they can do whatever they want with it. They could give you 0 views in 100 million years. Or, if you go and do something, comical but stupid, look like a Neanderthal, or just do a goofy dance, or I don't know, shove a whole pile of food down your throat. I don't know, whatever gets a lot of views. You could get 1 million views in the matter of a couple days because they spread it across the globe, and they can also manufacture bogus numbers for the amount of views you're actually getting. Like me, I have no doubt that more people watch my videos than I think, but they watch them more thoroughly because they're interested in what I have to say. To those people, I say, hello, nice to meet you, my name is Ryan, and yeah. So I've kind of trailed off here. I'm not rambling, but I've trailed off my original subject, which was psionic brainwave emitters. But I also had to engage the social constructs and that sort of thing to explain the more down-to-earth reason why people don't want to believe in such devices, such capabilities the government has. They like to live their ignorant lives, and they like to think that they're not being controlled. But you are. Everyone is. Everyone has their controls. It's all about working your way around them, outsmarting the system. Anyway, yeah, that's about all I got. I will make another video, probably later today. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.